when we're going to get, what the beauty here is when we're going to get external speakers, those external speakers can even invite others to view them on live streaming. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and you all know how to do that. In the very beginning, some people were not clear. Now I'm going to do my entire screen. And in this case, then, Hunter, do you see my entire screen?
I can.
Good.
On you.
Right, and we can see that, and we know that in the bottom corner, then, Bobby, what do we have? In the bottom corner of that screen, we have the U there, the logo. You know, it's powered by Zoom. So basically, what's the nice idea is Zoom makes sure that they're into YouTube. You got that, Bobby? So Zoom says to themselves, they're a company. And somebody says, well, why is it powered by Zoom? I thought it would be YouTube. And YouTube, right, says, hey, we got in where maybe we wouldn't have gotten in, and people can see us live now. YouTube can take advantage of that. You can do the exact same thing with Facebook. For instance, if you have Meta glasses, you could then stream live to your Meta glasses. That's number one. Number two, what do I always want to do is I want to always go to my what's due section. And we know my what's due today was everyone should have finished assignment 2, which was really a nice overview of collaboration skills. The tech guide software that I'm going to be going over today, kind of the major things in software, the adaptive assignment, the quizzes as we always did. And last time we also talked about the hardware. We talked about RAM, which was volatile, secondary storage. In this case, if I looked at in this case, a secondary storage, Lauren, is what? Volatile or non-volatile? Secondary storage. What do you think? Lauren, what do you think?
Sorry. What?
Secondary storage, they called it primary storage, and part of primary storage was memory. Remember that last time? Were you in class last time with us, Lauren?
I was in class.
Good. So memory was like RAM, you remember? And you had to go into your
computer and check it, yeah.
Right, how much RAM you had, and we always said that RAM was what? That it was basically it was quicker. RAM is where your programs are being processed. So if we are now going to do PowerPoint, a copy of PowerPoint is taken from secondary storage, like your hard drive, and a copy of that is brought in by the operating system to main memory. So main memory is volatile. What does that mean, Jack Murray, that it's volatile?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. When I say main memory, or I say primary storage, you see my little notes down here below?
Yeah.
And I say is volatile. And main primary storage is where it is. Sometimes it's sometimes called memory. Sometimes part of it is called RAM. You remember those terms? RAM, let me do caps. RAM, random access memory. And this is where one uses the software. A copy is made from what? Secondary storage. And what's another word for secondary storage, Jack? Is like the hard drive. Have you ever heard of that before? You have a hard drive, you're going to save things, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to my question, and Lauren too, and you can look this up, right, Lauren? What does it mean? And everybody can look this up. What does it mean that my primary storage is volatile? Right?
It says that the storage lost data when it's powered off and
Exactly.
is
So is it important to save your work? Lauren?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, yes, it is, right? Why? Because if the has it ever happened to you, power goes off? Has it ever happened to you? What happens to me, right? That you don't know what's happening in the lecture, and all of a sudden my power goes off. It's important. That's what volatile means. That I can lose it. Right? But it's very quick. So this is what we talked about last time. And this was due for today, my advanced digital. And for next Wednesday, aren't you excited then, Kendall? We got another assignment. And why are you excited about it? And why I'm excited, we're going to learn the new skills more to add on to it. So we have the audit assignment, which is a screen recording assignment. We recorded our screen with Zoom, but there's other ways to record it, and many times other ways to record it that I can save it to my own computer. I can save it to the cloud. Bobby, remember I had some problems in getting all the controls, seeing all the controls and getting it recorded. A lot of times I can do it with an individual assignment. And then we're going to go to another chapter on data knowledge management, which is going to be part of software. We talk about data, and we have assignments and quizzes. So how do I find out, in this case, Kendall, where my audit assignment is? Finding specifics about it?
Under the audit assignment instructions on the side.
Perfect. Now we know it. Everything is easy when we know it. And we know that we have, in this case, we have the assignment, which is what? In a folder. If I go to the left here, we're just little ones I have in the folder. And I can see I have two parts. I have part 1 and part 2. Part 1 this is what? Individual. Part 2 is group. So Stephen, like you were talking about before, that you met together as a group, you first want to do your part on an individual screen recording assignment separately. So on the individual recording assignment, I'm going to open it up. These are the steps, and I thank my TAs for going through these. The demonstration of part 1, where I see in this case here, this assignment will guide you through using a screen recording software. There are many screen recording softwares out there. Some of you may be familiar with them. QuickTime, OBS, Loom, there are many of them. And one of the things that's important, and I want to keep this in mind for this group's work, is that everybody in your group will choose another recording program. So today we'll end the class with doing breakout rooms. So in this case, Ava, when we do breakout rooms, you'll be able to make sure and already decide which software program you're going to use. So Ava, so everybody can use different ones. And why do I want to have, you think, Ava, I want everyone to have a different software program for screen recorders?
Maybe to show how different ones work.
Exactly. And the beauty here, Ava, is once you find out yours, it will have strengths and weaknesses just like anything else. But you'll be able to say, for a task, you'll be able to know which software works best for what type of problem that you need to face. And you'll be having in your toolkit a lot more than one. So you can see in this case, you'll remember here that you'll be able to choose it first, and then you'll go step by step. You'll choose a recording program, and you will then also use Zoom. You know, of course, Stephen, how to use Zoom, so you can showcase some of the features on Zoom, but you also can record your software program. And it will go through your steps on this one. And if I go back to the instructions, I see on a group assignment. So one you will do on your own, and then you'll come, this assignment then will, once you have step 2, record step 1, recording individually, right? And then you will meet with the group, right? You're having them, Daniel, meet with the group as well, right?
Yes, for the part 2.
For part 2. And it'll be less than 10 minutes. And each person in the group should tell other people in the group, what are the advantages? What were the struggles of it? Where do you think it really fits? What type of scenario it should fit in? Okay. And we will, in the audit area, if we look in the audit area, under assignment groups, I always like to go to my infamous group 0, and you will see here, we had the individual assignment, the group assignment, the individual screening assignment, and this one. I guess this voice, we're not going to do right now.
That's coming up.
That's coming up. So we really don't need that now. Maybe, I don't know if you want to do that later, or that's up to you.
I'll move it.
Yeah, move it, Daniel, because I'd rather have people see exactly what I need rather than all of a sudden, if it's there, I'm thinking maybe I need to do it. So if you can move it somewhere and then just place it back. That's why it's good that we review it. So in the individual recording assignment, you can see each student, just like before, does their sample screen recording assignment. They will tell which software they use. They will use then they will put in their recording, say if it's open source or closed source, what was showcased there, what were the features, what were the takeaways, what were the challenges, and you can see ESA has it as well. And then based, if I go back then into my group, the individual, you see here should be the screen recording group assignment. This is the group. You know what I'd like? Maybe we can add here just another one, Daniel, now that I see it, of who attended, just like we did in before, even though it's the individual groups and things.
Oh, that should be on the folder itself.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me just see. Under which folder?
On group 0 example, under the assignment itself, that.
Okay, good. This is what I like, where you have here, Daniel used OBS, Lily used Loom, and Isa used QuickTime. Okay. Perfect. Very good. Okay. And we'll go through, you guys can read through this, and we'll do a breakout room near the end of the class so we can help you go through it and you can kind of make your assignment. So you can research it. What I like is you can research the programs. You want to look for something that at least can be free. They have a free version, and you want to be able to see what operating system it works on, whether you can record it to your, just like it's to your computer, it records to the cloud. You can talk about what are its advantages, what are its disadvantages, and we have another software for our tool chest. Any questions, you can put it in the chat or unmic yourself, anything that needs it. Isa or Daniel, anything you'd like to emphasize?
I mean,
Isa?
the assignments themselves shouldn't take too long. They're definitely shorter than the first two assignments. That's why they're both given in the same week. But again, if you have questions or concerns, talk with your group, and if you really need us, you can email us.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
same thing.
Okay, so I think everybody kind of knows it, and it's the whole idea is everybody, it's due then Wednesday before class. You could probably then, what I suggest is do it on your, definitely do it on your own, and then meet with your group. And what you'll be doing in your group is you'll be talking about, you'll be the expert of your screen recording software that you use, and basically talk together in your group, or what are the advantages and disadvantages. And this way, each person in the group can be familiar with all the software products. So it should be one person per group, one person per software. So you don't want to have two people doing OBS or two people doing QuickTime. And what I would like you to do is, for instance, many of you know QuickTime, pick another program. Do you understand, Bobby? Pick something that you haven't used before. That's the beauty of this class. You want to have more tools in your toolbox that you'll go to. All right. The other thing I always want you to do at least once a week is go to either the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, and look at what's happening. So sometimes I get, even in this, look at this. Stephen James, did you hear about this? Oracle OpenAI assign massive 300 billion cloud computing deal. Did you hear about that, Stephen?
this is my first time hearing about it.
Amazing. 300 billion. How do you think, Stephen, Oracle stock price went today?
It definitely skyrocketed.
To what?
I don't know, but probably a lot more than it was.
Go ahead and find out. And guess what? Based on how well it did, who do you think now is the richest person? Who is Ellison? Do you have any ideas, Stephen? Who do you think, George, is Ellison? You see this article? Ellison now rivals Musk as the world's richest person, how their wealth compares.
I guess he's probably like the CEO of Oracle or the creator.
It basically is
And their stock price went up to 328.
So what percentage?
I can't tell the percentage, but it's a lot.
Anybody find?
It went up about $100.
Yeah, so basically Oracle's stock price, let's even put that. $35 today. Zach, what do you think? If we had any clue, right?
Big growth, yeah.
What?
That's a lot of growth for a day.
For one day, it's a lot of growth. For 2 days. Year to date, they've gone up 97%. Right? 1 year, 110%, right? And then if we think about it, right? It's amazing, right? That if I look at, right, even Tesla, right? 0.24, 1 month. You remember how that used to go? 6 months, 56, year to date, not year to date -8, huh? In the past year, 53. So anyways, we can think about Tesla. And then if I think about NVIDIA, right? If I think about today in the month, right? Year to date, it used to be 28% was a big deal, right? But if I looked at 64, right, it hasn't done as, still look in the past 5 years, NVIDIA. Do you see that, George? Look how they were doing before, and it's gone up 1,358%. So it's not so bad. But you can see, so the question becomes, let me just go back to my Wall Street here. The question becomes then, OpenAI, this is kind of like, I'd like you to see it almost. You see, Stephen, why it's good almost kind of to see, how does this even affect it? The majority of new revenue real from OpenAI. Everybody knows OpenAI, right? From ChatGPT. OpenAI signed a contract to purchase 300 billion. That's what the B in computing power over roughly 5 years from Oracle. People familiar said a massive commitment far outstrips the startup's current position. And the deal is one of the largest cloud contracts ever, reflecting how spending on AI data centers. Remember we talked about hardware, about AI requiring loads and loads of data centers hitting new highs, mounting concerns over a potential bubble. It will require 4.5 gigabytes of capacity comparable to the power produced by 2 Hoover dams, or the amount consumed by 4 million homes. Okay. And then the chief executive, Safra Catz, who used to be the CFO of Google, got a good deal as well. And the chairman, Larry Ellison, started this company, Oracle, and he took over. He basically stepped down from being the CEO and is the chairman. And Oracle's chairman, Larry Ellison's wealth by more than 100 billion, pushing him into the range of Elon Musk. And it's a risky gamble for OpenAI is money-losing startup generating less than a fifth it will pay. And this is kind of an interesting article for you to look at, to be aware of what's happening in the marketplace. I want you guys to really be up on what is happening here. And then they go into what's the difference between Amazon. So this article, Daniel, you see this? Would be good to put in for next
I can put
week.
it.
And there's something else I want to go. And the other thing that I want you to look at and be familiar with is when you always go to tech, go to the area in Wall Street. That's why I like the Wall Street Journal for tech articles, because they bring into account tech and also finance together, which really our class is kind of looking at it all the time. So under artificial intelligence, you see that this is the biggest headline. And Stephen, it's amazing that you kind of can think about how great that is. And then they talk about, the iPhone. So Weston, I don't see your face. Well, so you're going to need to sit up or something, or change your ways that we can do it. And you know what also, Evers, if I were laying like this, you'd be hearing me snore. So that's in one of the things. Did you hear about the iPhone Pro and Air? Did you check anything about that out? Were you aware of it ever?
No, I was not aware of it.
Yeah, iPhone came out with new products
No.
yesterday, and guess what? They're basically in hardware, they're much more powerful. They really advanced their phone models. On your phone, if you want to do a picture ever on a phone in landscape mode, what do you have to do with your phone?
Turn it sideways.
And guess what's the new idea now? What's more comfortable is to make it basically like a profile look, right? How do you usually you usually don't hold your phone sideways, right? Ever.
Yeah.
So what do you think? the new idea of the new camera is what? You can
You
get
can
a
probably make it
landscape picture,
landscape
but what?
mode while holding it like normal.
But you don't have to switch it. So you can
Yeah.
get a landscape, and guess what? AI is behind it. They're a little bit behind on AI, but they're trying to do, thinner, greater. The marketplace wasn't so impressed by it. Now they have a thin phone, versus the old phone, but these are kind of things that you can kind of figure out what's happening here. And notice even they say Oracle is the new NVIDIA in terms of their stock market. It's like really hot. And then you can see kind of some of their articles. But one of the articles I'd like Daniel you to also put in is this article. Do you see it, Daniel? How the AI boom is leaving consultants behind.
Do you want the Apple one as well?
No, the Apple's okay.
Okay.
You kind of the Apple's on the side, but this one for
Okay.
sure. If I like my students before class, you can even have a couple of minutes before, even as we're getting started, go to the Wall Street Journal. You understand that, Bobby? Go to the Wall Street Journal, check out the tech AI. So we got a feel for it. And I'll ask in the way anybody find an interesting article, it'd be interesting. But this is fantastic, Daniel. And the headline is Consultants, how the AI boom is leaving consultants behind. Consultants have a lot to gain helping companies deploy the most transformative technology in decades. Consultants usually go to companies, and what do? They say, we'll help companies get into new technologies. And now, notice this, Daniel, some clients say so far they have overpromised and underdelivered. Why do you think that's happening, Daniel?
Because there's a lot of expectations, and the expectations are certainly higher than what the technology is at so far.
And do you think these consulting firms really know what's happening? Or they've been trained for the past 10, what they knew 10 years ago or 5 years ago, these consultants that have been working, let's say 20 years in the marketplace, all of this is what? Brand new to them, right, Daniel?
Yes, of course.
So when they go, they basically said, you're not, nobody makes AI work, Price Waterhouse. We don't just bring companies. In the early days, it seemed like it was working. So everybody, oh, you're going to help us. But look at this. I love this line. Do you see this, Devin? What's this line? Consultants versus the kid in college.
Would you like me to read it out?
Yeah, just read it. Consultant advisory heavyweights, right? For years helped enterprises get to speed, right? But the expert hasn't been, basically what they're trying to say is college kids know more than even the consultants because they used it more. Does that make sense, Devin? What do you think? So
Yes,
in this,
it makes sense.
yeah, so that's what I love it so much, Isa, is what we're doing in our classes, that it'll be easy for us to make an impression that we can even compete with some of these big four consulting. Either you can go to those, or you can make you can go off on your own. And basically, they've overpromised. We discovered they really have no idea how to do these things. They were just as good or bad as we would have been to be able to do it in-house. So this is what I'd like for them to read too, Daniel, right? That this stage of AI and the technology, in my opinion, is in a supercharged cycle. It's happening so quickly that even my most experienced people in tech can't keep up. This is so new. Do you understand that, Kendall? So basically, even like this Zoom that we did, or all the other things that we're going to be doing, is You didn't know it, but guess what? They didn't know how to do it either. So what we're going to be doing in this class is each group will be AI consultants, and you'll take a sector. Do you understand that, Reagan? You'll take a sector that you really are passionate about, whether it's finance or marketing or real estate, and you'll be giving those services, and you'll be getting keen on what software and AI tools can help businesses achieve it. And you'll be promoting that. And already you can even promote, Reagan, what? You can promote that if a company knows something, they can already live stream and record and do more collaborative and useful meetings. So what do you think, Marco? Interesting on that idea of almost that being an AI consultant, you can basically compete now.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that so many people are like professional for this industry and they just don't know how to use AI yet. So I feel like
Nobody
in the
does.
future,
And
so
if they
many
tell
people.
you we're experts in it, even the most experts, it's hard to keep up because it hasn't been implemented yet. We have the idea, like the agents and that you've even worked on, right, with some of the internships that you've done, right, Marco? It's still different knowing it in theory and actually trying to apply it to help businesses be more productive. It's not such an easy task because it's in such a infancy stage. But what is amazing for me is that you can start in their almost in some of their own levels. That's where it is. Where if I told you, we have this ERP system, an enterprise resource planning system of using Oracle's database that's been around for 20 years. We have people 20 years, that's all they've been doing, let's say in manufacturing, in auto, in finance, right? That'd be hard for you guys to compete in, right? You'd have to start in being an just start for the beginning. But in looking at all these tools, it's new to everyone. Nobody's been in the place that this is brand new to all of us. So it's an interesting aspect. You see why, Daniel, I like that article for students kind of to bring that out. Everybody's kind of like promising, right? Everybody is feeling like, hey, where's the money? Look at Oracle, right? Hey, there's a money out there. It's gone up 35% in one day, which I would be really pleased if in 5 years I had that result. Okay. So let me share. And in sharing here, let me share here what's important. Is what we talked about before, Ava, was the idea of software. And one of the things that I want you to be able to know the difference, Ava, and this is for everybody, is we're going to be able to know what's the difference between an operating system and application software. Knowing the difference of who cares what operating system I have and how does an application software relate to an operating system. So this is the key here when I think about software, is I think about then my hardware will not work unless I have software, right? Everybody's knowing that. And programming in the past has been the process of coding programs. We even talked about the zeros and ones, and really these computer programs are instructions to the computer to do some tasks. And individuals who program now, what is going to be more and more interesting is that these are programming the code programming, basically my computer programs are instructions based on algorithms. And what's an algorithm? Algorithm is like a recipe, right? Based on an algorithm, and my programming, there's certain instructions that you code in a certain syntax. And that programming that you code in a certain syntax, now AI helps in the coding. And they have something now called vibe coding, which allows, sometimes it's called no code. It's like prompts, just like you have, Carissa, you've used ChatGPT or something similar all the time, right? So you could tell it what you want the instructions to be, and it would, vibe coding means it comes back with those exact syntax of the instructions. No code, instead you're using prompts. And there's documentation of the software, and there's systems programs and application programs. So the idea here, when I'm thinking about what's important, is this right here. What's important right here is hardware is in the middle right here. You see this, Carissa? And then I have something called system software, operating system software. Have you ever heard of, Carissa, operating systems or system software?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So everybody, this is what I want everybody to do. You're in front of a computer, right, Carissa?
Yeah.
What kind of what type of computer you have in front of you?
I have a Microsoft, a Windows.
Microsoft program. Okay. And what is Windows then? When you say Microsoft Windows, what is Windows? Is Windows an application software or a system software? Carissa?
I believe
Windows is an operating system, right?
Yeah.
And who cares, Carissa? And Reagan, what kind of computer do you have in front of you?
Right now I have a MacBook Air.
MacBook Air. So the question is, Reagan, Carissa has a Windows computer and you have a Mac. And what's the brand you have, Carissa? Carissa, what brand?
Mine is from Microsoft.
It's a Microsoft computer.
Yeah.
It's a computer brand from Microsoft, okay? And there can be Dell, there can be others, right? So you have Microsoft basically, and who owns Windows software is Microsoft. So Microsoft says, hey, I'll make the hardware. And in order for the hardware to run, I'll use an operating system. Basically, system software are the operating system. Basically, the whole idea of that is it allows parts of all the systems to work together. You need system software. So what I want you to do right now is, everyone, I want you to be prepared where I call on you to tell me what operating system you have on your computer. Not just say I have a Mac Air or I have a Windows. Tell me exactly what type of, if it's Windows, what version of Windows, if it's Mac, what type of individually you have. Before you told me how much RAM you had, right? How much primary storage you had, and you told me how much secondary storage you had on your computer. Now what I want everybody to do is tell me what operating system you have on your computer. What's the name of it? Do you understand, Devin? And if you don't know, right, we all weren't born with this, right? What do we do in our class here, Layla? We look it up, we find solutions, right? What type of finding help? What operating system do I have? Erwin? You there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see my face? Do you see your face in the Zoom?
Yeah, I fixed this. Sorry.
Right. We don't need to bother, right? Okay. So what do you have, Stephen?
Mine says that it's Mac OS Sequoia 15.6.1.
Okay. So it says, so read it again. What does it say? Mac what?
Mac OS, and then I think it's Sequoia
Sequoia?
15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it has a
Sequoia
number 15, whatever. Okay.
15.6.1. Yeah.
Okay, great. Who else found what they have? Raise your hand. Layla, what did you have?
I think this is right. A Mac OS Sonoma.
Okay, Mac
4.6.1.
OS Sonoma. Have you ever been to Sonoma? Sonoma's pretty in California.
I have not.
Wine country. I love it. Okay, Mac OS Sonoma. And does it have a number?
14.6.1.
1361. Okay. Who else found one? Marco, did you find what you have?
Yeah, the same one as Steven, the Mac OS Sequoia 15.6.1.
Okay. All right. And who told me that they had a Windows? Carissa, did you have a Windows?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, which version of Windows do you have?
I could pull that
You
up.
want to look because Windows, just saying you have Windows is an issue. Everybody here, who else? Raise your hand if you have a window. Somebody has Windows. Hunter, you have a Windows. Who else has Windows? Okay, Devin has Windows. This is important. You think who cares, right? But it's important. Okay, so what version do you have, Hunter?
I have Windows 14.
Windows 14?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I don't think you have Windows 14. Go check.
I'll double check.
Right, double check. You don't have Windows 14. Devin, what do you have?
I believe I have Windows 11.
Windows 11, okay. And Carissa, you're going to have to find out. Okay, so this is the question. First of all, it says Mac OS. So in this case, Kylie, it says Mac OS. What do you think OS stands for?
Operating system.
Perfect, right? We're not born with this stuff, but OS, anytime you hear OS, and you've all heard of OS, we just don't even pay attention to it, is the operating system. And then, Devin, you have Windows 11. And Carissa, did you find out what Windows you have?
Yeah, Windows 14.
Windows 14, okay. And you have a Microsoft computer? It says?
Yes.
Stay with you, Hunter. You have a Microsoft, what brand do you have?
I have a Lenovo. I just double checked. It's Windows 11.
Windows 11, okay. So we need to check on Windows 11. Okay, so my question to everybody, we're a group. We're going to be, our vision is to be consultants, and we can consult with OpenAI and we can do Oracle, because we can say, hey, we can beat, we don't even have to beat them. We can help all these companies deal with AI. So the question is, when somebody says in their group, we got Windows machines of 11, and maybe somebody has Windows 10 or something, and then we have Mac OS. Why do we care? Everybody understand my question? Why do we care what operating systems each of us have? Does it make any difference? Any ideas?
We might not, like, say if we're using Zoom or something, we might not be able to access all of the features if we don't have a relatively new operating.
Basically what it is, we have something called an operating system that helps us basically save files. It basically helps us. The operating system takes the software from our secondary storage and brings it into our primary storage. The operating system, if we want to go and save it to the cloud, helps us do that. If we want to download software, it helps us do that. All those operations, it basically think about it as like a control helps us run the computer to do our tasks. It's based on applications. So Hunter, an application has to be compatible with an operating system. Sometimes for our browser, we don't have to worry about it. So if we're all on Zoom and go on our browsers, we all can use the same browsers. All our computers then can get to a browser. So if Zoom is like a cloud base, we don't have any problems. But for instance, I want a screen recorder that I can record my screen and save it to my computer. That screen recorder, Hunter, has to be applicable to my operating system I use. So they have to match. Now, some software, what they do is they make it for many types of operating systems. So, Hunter, have you ever used Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word?
All the time.
All the time. Microsoft is the owner of those applications. And since there's so many Macs out there, and Microsoft doesn't own the hardware, they still want your business. So they've made a version of their software to run on Mac OS. And for Windows, there's a version of Windows of that same software. What sometimes Microsoft did is they want to encourage people to use their operating systems. They may have a more advanced features in the Windows version than the Mac version. Do you understand that, Hunter? So it depends. Some software that I've used in the past only had Windows or only had Mac. So sometimes what you could do is on the same machine, you could have two operating systems using it. Now, does every device have an operating system? Everybody has mobile phones. Am I correct, Peyton? I don't think there's anyone in this class that doesn't have a smartphone. What do you think? Of course, right? Question to you, does a phone have an operating system? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes. What phone do you have, Peyton?
I have an iPhone.
You have what?
I have an iPhone.
You have an iPhone. Who is the manufacturer of that iPhone? What company?
Apple.
Apple. What operating system does the same do you have a Mac computer?
Yes.
This is a question for the class. Does the same operating system work for your Mac as it does for your iPhone? Raise your hand. Everybody understand my question? My question is, if you have an iPhone and you have a Mac computer, they both need an operating system. You can't run a phone because you're running programs, right? You can't run a phone without an operating system. Do they have the same operating system? Raise your hand if you know the answer. Okay, Ashri.
I'm guessing they don't have the same operating system.
Right. What is the operating system of your iPhone?
iOS.
iOS. Peyton, what do you think OS means?
Operating system.
Okay, right. So it has a separate operating system. And when you want to download apps, does anyone have not an iPhone and have an Android phone? Anyone? Okay, Daniel, you have an what kind of phone do you have?
It's a Google Pixel.
A Google Pixel. What operating system, Daniel, does that have?
Android 16.
An Android 16. Anybody ever hear of Android? Raise your hand if you ever heard of Android, right? You've heard of Android. So guess what? It's a separate operating system. And guess what? Applications or apps have to run based on the operating system. There can be the same app. So guess what? I can go to, there's a separate store if I have Android that I want to have apps versus if I have basically an iOS. That's why it matters. You understand? My idea here, later on, AI will tell us all the facts, right? What OS stands for, right? I can find the history from it. But what you need to know is, why am I doing this? What do I care when I'm going to be consulting a business? What do I have to care? And then I have to take it in consideration. Some parts of the world have more Android phones than iOS. In the United States, is more prevalent iPhones. But in other places in the world, Android is more prevalent. Everybody with me? So that's why that chapter is so important. Talking about what are apps, what are applications versus others. Okay, so let's take about 10 minutes to meet in our groups, figure out what the assignments are. And what I'd like you to do in your groups is make your folder. Go ahead, and I would even like, you don't have to make sure that maybe you're going to play around with what each person will use for their screen recorders. Start thinking about it. Each person will do something different. And then we'll have our TAs and myself meet you in your groups and just say hello and answer your questions. And then we'll come back for attendance. How does that sound? Hunter, okay? So this way we can kind of be on the same page with our individual assignments, our group assignments. And Stephen, you can see now how we're really starting to hone in and getting group collaboration plus individual work. Okay. So Dan, would you be so kind and just open up the rooms? Everybody go to the room with your group, equivalent rooms, right?
If you guys cannot go into the group, please know your group number so we can move you very quickly.
Yeah, so we can get in. You made 10 rooms. Perfect. Isa, where do you want to start? Beginning, middle, or end?
I can go end.
Okay, end. And Daniel, what would you like?
To the beginning.
What? The beginning?
I'll do the beginning, yeah, why not?
Okay, and I'll go wherever, in the middle. And we'll meet in the middle, huh?
Yep.
And then we'll make it short, but you guys can kind of set up when are you going to meet. I don't have to micromanage, right?
Yeah. For everyone who's still
get into
here,
my
do you need
group.
help? Lauren, what group are you in?
Group 5.
Gianna?
I forget if it's 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure it's 1.
I can check.
Yeah, I think I'm in group 2, or I
You
mean
guys
3.
should be able to check yourselves, right? Go
Yeah,
to the
I'm
over
group
there and
1.
find it. You want to be kind to
David?
Daniel, not give him all the burden, right?
Group 3.
And Jorge? Oh, you move. Great. Let's start. We don't have that much time.
I know, just so they do, you know what I mean, that they meant. We'll do
Yeah.
it like 5 minutes, kind of thing. Just meet with them. I think just something to make sure that they know, hey, everybody's gonna pick something different, and
Yeah.
that's all.
All right.
Okay. Shouldn't take long. I think now everybody knows what to do.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay. Daniel, anything that is important for the students to know about? And Isa, anything that you've, in talking to the students, that you think you need to share their questions?
Everyone is kind of a little antsy to know about when the review guide will go live, but other than that, not so much.
Review for what?
Exam season is beginning.
Is it?
I know a lot of people have.
We got time.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We got to first get through all our assignments because basically a lot of our assignments are going to be part of it too. So, but I appreciate everybody's wants to do well, right? We should flip it around, right? And say it's great that everybody is going live. What else? Anything else? Isa, what did you explain or had the questions? Do you think everybody needs to know?
Everyone's doing pretty good. They were just kind of asking me like, oh, for the next assignment, like, do we have to meet up or do we have to have individuals or can we do them at separate times? And I'm like, no, let's do them in order. So it's just like minor questions like that, but everything else is
Okay.
great.
And then I had others for both of you that I had questions is for my individual, do I need to use Zoom? What's your answer to that? Daniel and Isa. Daniel, you understand their question? Do I need to use, if I'm a student, I'm going to do my individual, do I need to use Zoom to record for my screen recorder?
Let me look at the assignment. The answer is always in the assignment.
And you can look too, Isa. Do I need to use Zoom? And can you do it? Can you use, and that's what I end up doing.
You do need to use Zoom, yes.
What?
You do need to use Zoom.
You need to use Zoom in my first assignment to do what?
Well, you're going to, in the first, like assignment number 1?
In my individual assignment.
But the screencasting one, right?
Yeah, the screen
Yeah.
record.
So you're going to use like your normal recorder to record Zoom. That way you can like show some of the features on Zoom and stuff like that. But you're not actually going to record to the cloud with Zoom on the individual part.
Right.
On the group part, you will.
Let me tell you what I do. Everybody understand? When I'm in even a Zoom meeting, what I like to do is I like to use my screen recorder and my Zoom. Why? One is because then I can record in another place. 2, I can record to my computer. And 3, sometimes I'm not the host. So if I'm not the host, sometimes the host doesn't give me permission to record and I want to have a separate recording, I can do that as well. So I can do that. Plus, sometimes if I don't see, Bobby, those controls, all my controls, I can have my Zoom running and I can use another program on top of that to record all the controls. So I can use that as well. So that's the reasoning. Okay, let's do attendance. And then I'll stay with anyone. And you put those assignments, Daniel, in both sections of the Wall Street Journal?
Yep.
Thank you
It's
so
in the
much.
what's due.
Great, perfect. Okay. 3249. So stay with me if you have additional questions. If you need it, reach out to again, my appreciation to everybody that contributed today and also to Isa and Daniel, right? To giving the students personalized attention. We're like concierge. Right? We got to figure out, we got to help each other, right? That's the beauty. Okay, so we can end that. I guess you don't need to share the screen, right? You can leave it on, Daniel, but we don't have that. Okay, so we have in the chat, and I'm sure, Daniel, you put it in more than once, right? And then I need to shut down
the recording.